Alright guys, so I got a package from Amazon here today that I'm excited to open up and start checking these things out. Just a little hint, they are related to video games, but they aren't actually video games. So once you see the first one that I pull out here, you'll know exactly what the rest of them are going to be. I got 5 of them. Let me just pull it off to the side. Alright. So the first one on top here is a book. That's right, I got a package from Amazon with all video game books. And this one in particular here is called Vintage Games, an insider look at the history of Grand Theft Auto, Super Mario, and the most influential games of all time. And the funny thing is, what I noticed when I was checking out with this book, it's actually one of the authors is a fellow YouTuber right here on YouTube, Matt Barton. You guys might know him as Black Lily 8. He does his Matt Chat channel here on YouTube. Excellent channel. He interviews game developers, game creators. One of the most unique shows on YouTube here. Definitely check it out. He's very, very knowledgeable when it comes to his stuff. And I saw that he was one of the authors on this book, and I'm like, oh, that's freaking cool. So I decided to pick this up. Really good reviews on it, so I'm looking forward to getting into it. Let's see. Color photos. Goes over different influential game series. So I'm going to have to make an order here for which books I'm going to read first. This will be one of the ones higher up on the list. I'll probably start with the smaller ones first and work my way forward. Got Zelda, Mario, Exodus. So let's see what the next one is. Next one is a highly recommended book, Masters of Doom, How Two Guys Created an Empire and Transformed Pop Culture. Now what this is actually about is the video game Doom and the other series like Quake that id Software made, and you guys will know them as John Romero and John Carmack. This is their story, how they started up creating Doom and basically, you know, the rise and fall of their development studio. And supposedly it's a really, really great read. This is often regarded as one of the best video game books you can read, despite just being about, yes, two guys, you know, starting off from scratch and making their video game empire, and basically just being about Doom and their lives. I still think it's going to be really, really interesting. I'm a big fan of Doom, and I'm really interested in reading more into this story. I have read about it before because I do have the Ultimate History of Video Games book, but this one will definitely go into more detail. Next up is, and this is a huge one. Jeez. Shout out to finngamer, who did a video quite recently on this book on his channel. He did the soft cover, I believe, or maybe the hardcover. But I got the hardcover one. It's a different cover than what he has. It's 1001 video games you must play before you die. And yes, this book seriously has 1001 games that you must play before you die. Let's check this out. This book is mammoth. This is going to last me a lifetime. Check this out. Each page, it goes in chronological order, so it starts off with much older games, you know, even before Atari. Full color. And it works its way up to, you know, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all the way up until today. So we got Lemmings, Virtua Racing, Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. I mean, stuff in here that it's written by a lot of different authors. Skull Monkeys, the Neverhood. Sorry, I'm gonna love this book. Really, really, the print is really small, but that's understandable because there's 1000 games in here. Panzer Dragoon Orta. This is an excellent book, and it was really pretty cheap too. I forget the exact price, but none of these books were super expensive. Let's see, it's Luminous Live. Totally agree with that. Great game. Crisis. So you get the idea. This is going to be an excellent book. It's 1001 video games you must play before you die. Lost Winds. Oh yeah. They got some good choices in here. I'm sure, you know, the Ecos and the Shadow of the Colossuses and Reses. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. Rhythm Heaven, yeah. So, that's a great book right there. That's not going to be a read straight through. I'm going to, over time, kind of browse through that. Next up is a newer book that's actually getting highly regarded, and that's Replay, The History of Video Games by Tristan Donovan. Now, This has an awful cover. Okay, check that out. Terrible, terrible cover. But you should never judge a book by its cover, because from what I've read, this is an actually even better version than the most well-known Ultimate History of Video Games. So it just documents, from beginning to end, through interviews, how video games have evolved from what they were to what they are today. There's some pictures in here. They are black and white. But this, I don't know, this will probably be I think I'm going to make this the second one I read, because the next one is going to be my first read, which I'll show you guys here in a second. To replay. And lastly is this one. This is another fairly new one. Nintendo Magic, Winning the Video Game Wars. Now, cover's a little bit banged up on it, but what this is here, it's a book about how Nintendo started and got to where they are today. That might sound a little familiar to some of you, because there's a very similar book out there that was written in 1994, I believe, called Game Over. And that is the most popular, probably the most popular video game book out there, which also, talks about Nintendo's start from basically nothing to their fame and their takeover and everything. But that one's a little bit outdated. This is more updated. This is it's more recent. And from what I've read, it's pretty accurate. It's actually translated from Japanese into English, so there's some translation errors. This is a hardcover. But it is a full-out book. The Birth of the DS and the Wii. I'm not sure why that's Chapter 2. I'll have to find out why that is. That's interesting. I guess it's not going in direct order. But yeah, this should be interesting. They recommend that you read this and Game Over, just to get the full story. So eventually I'll get the Game Over book. That's extremely rare and pretty expensive now, though, so I'll be on the lookout for that. So there you go, guys. That's just some video game books that I picked up from Amazon. It's going to keep me busy for quite some time. Once again, if you wanted to check out finngamer's channel or Matt Barton's channel, I'll have links below. Thanks for watching, guys.